welcome to Wednesday's MyStockScanner Live. We're halfway there, and the markets are wide awake. Let's see which stocks measure up to the three-point playbook today. Hans-Henrik Nielsen is the man with the answer. I'm Jesper Baehrenz, asking on your behalf as well. Write us on our email, fomo@mystockscanner.com. Hans-Henrik, first question from me to you. Are you the sort of soft shell taco or hard shell? What do you prefer?
Definitely soft.
Soft. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to softball you all the way through the show. You're going to get some hard questions, and we have a filled show for you, and there might be tacos on the way. Again, welcome to the show. Markets are back in motion, and so is the uncertainty. In Denmark, we're happy to see that Ørsted is fighting their way back to windmill productions in the US. The wind farms over there won a case yesterday and is back on track. MAERSK is suddenly on the move. Shares are jumping, but is it real momentum or just noise? And since we were talking the US a moment ago in regards to Ørsted, macro is back in the driver's seat. We didn't get a market meltdown yesterday, and that's despite Republicans and their President Trump are on edge in regards to what's going to happen to Fed Chair Powell, but also discussing tariffs. And even credit card rates are on the table right now, apart from maybe a punishment if you're doing trading with Iran. Pressure on the Supreme Court, lots of things going on. Meanwhile, Alibaba explodes higher, and that raises the big question with all the US turmoil. Is it time to seriously look to China, Japan, South Korea? Opportunity or value trap? We try to give you the answer here on the show, thanks to a question that we received from one of our viewers. It's Tuesday Tech as well, Max 7 debate, and maybe a European FOMO you don't want to miss out on. But let's start off with the number of the day, $5.2 million. We'll tell you what it's in regards to at the end of the show. But first, good news for Ørsted. Finally out of the courts and back to building. But we know maybe the last word isn't said in that case. But the stock jumping today, did you expect 5% or more for Ørsted? It sits at 4.4 right now.
I actually thought it would jump higher, to be
Mm.
honest, because that Revolution wind, that park that was stopped earlier on before New Year by Trump, that would cost them about, I think it was a couple of billion kroner per month, as long as that was not building. So right now, Trump has a way of getting it his way. And there is another one, I think it was called the Sunrise Wind Project, where if he succeed in stopping that could cost them, 50 billion Danish kroner. So I don't think they're completely out of the woods yet.
And it's not a stock that we, in any case with the three-point playbook, the rules that we have that we would be in if we bring it up in our MyStockScanner.com and take a look at it. Hans-Henrik, it's not a buy the dip or even a momentum shift situation that we're in right now.
Well, it could be. We never know. It's just not something for us. We can see quality-wise, it's not that impressive. 10 out of 100 in quality score. Earnings per share, that is just inching up in the positive, and we don't know what happened in US right now. It should be said that there are a lot of the Republican states that really like this wind energy, even though
you
Trump
meant the Democratic states? You said Republicans.
No, Republicans, because they have found out that they get hundreds of thousands of jobs from it. So even though Trump is against it, there are actually Republicans that silently cheers this victory for Ørsted. On the other, when we look at the value chart, you could say, is it cheap? Is it expensive? With a volatile graph like this, it's almost impossible to find a PE ratio where we kind of say when is it cheap, when is it expensive, because it has been from anywhere from negative to plus 100. So that is a bit hard. And then of course there is the chart here. If we just scroll out, we have not been in Ørsted since back here around 950-ish something. We wouldn't go into it now.
And it's still under its 200 days moving average, which is another
Exactly.
sort of signal that we're keeping an eye on. Liam Flavell is on vacation. That's why you have to settle for the two of us having the anchor position here on the Danish or the English show. The two Danes are here, and we take the chance then and talk about another Danish stock, not because it's English or American stocks when Liam is here, and that's MAERSK. And the reason why we are bringing up MAERSK is that it jumped yesterday 7.5% positive, both on the B and A version of the stock. Hans-Henrik, we were pressed to find a reason for it.
Yeah, well, I think it is because, as you can see here, this is from yesterday. This is a big green candle here, and up in the top here, you can see it says plus 6.68%. So that is what it went up yesterday. And that is, of course, not normal for a stock like that. But as far as I can tell, it was because they opened up so they could start shipping through the Suez Canal. There was a thing with the Houthis down in Yemen that bombed Western cargo ships due to the conflict in Gaza. So, however, this morning, the French, the Paribas, have been out saying that they think MAERSK is way too expensive and it should go down by 29.5%, something like that. So down around the 11,000, 11,500. I don't know where it should go, but I can tell you that it is a better quality score than ORSTED, but it seems like they're going negative in the earnings this year. That is just something we never, ever buy. No matter how much fantastic future people are promising, if it's losing money, we don't buy it.
And that's the simple conclusion, taking it into the 3-point playbook, because it always asks you the same question. Is it a quality stock? Does it have an upside? And is the timing right? And the answer is no to MAERSK at this point. So whoever's in it, whoever's buying it, it's going back a little bit today, 2.4%, but good luck to you. We wish you all the best in those stocks. And
Yeah.
let's turn our eyes and ears towards the US. This guy is basically tipping all. If you were playing a board game with him, you wouldn't really want to play a board game with him, because if he's losing, he'll probably throw both the board and all the playing pieces to the ground and say, we start over, or whatever.
And sue you.
And sue you as well. But we were sort of expecting worse things in the American market yesterday, Hans-Henrik. I won't say a sky fall, but we expected a little bit of turbulence with the Jeremy Powell situation. Didn't happen. The market relaxed.
Back in April last year, with the Liberation Day, the tariff mess, the bond market in US were rattled, and people said, "Can we really trust United States then?" And the interest rates just went straight up. I kind of expected that to happen yesterday. It's happening a bit more today. Let's just have a quick look at the interest. These are the interest rates. From the low, from 1 month and 2 month bonds, and up to 10 years, 20 and 30 years up here. And they are going up, but not as much as could be expected. The thing is, as you said, Trump actually went out Friday night and said, I'm gonna, or not I am, because he says he knows nothing about it, but DOJ, the Department of Justice, is going to sue Powell and Fed for something about some information they have said. And then Sunday, Powell went out saying, this is an attack on Fed. This is just so Trump can control interest rates. That has never happened, I don't know, anywhere in the Western world, as far as I recall, not in my career. That was insane. And that should have gotten the world to sell out of US bonds. There was a big bond auction yesterday where Fed bought up $35 billion worth of bonds. So that might have helped. But then some Republican senators came out saying, we're not supporting this. We want to have a look in DOJ to see who decided this trial, this lawsuit should run. So this is one big hot mess.
It's one big, and it ends up in a taco probably that he might have to walk it back. It's seen before. But then you bring up another slide on your screen, and that is that Trump vows to put on 25% tariff on countries doing business with Iran. Hello, Germany. You could be in trouble. Is this going to carry?
I have absolutely no idea. I have stopped trying to predict what goes through when it comes to Trump. But what he came out saying is, oh, those Iranians, they're not treating the demonstrants or the one demonstrating, they're not treating them very well. So and killing a lot of them. So we will put on a tariff on 25%, not on Iran, but on everyone that trades with Iran, meaning most of Europe, especially Germany. It means China, it means India, it means Brazil. So what he basically does here, if he doesn't taco out, I guess that's why you asked me about the taco in the beginning, because if he doesn't taco out here, it means that he more than doubles the tariff rate on both Europe and China and India, and then we have a completely new trade war.
Let me give you another taco then, because Trump said we're screwed if Supreme Court rules against his tariffs.
Yeah.
So then what?
Well, if you look at the Constitution, it's fairly clear. One person cannot just call something an emergency and then put tariff on the entire world. So I kind of hope that Supreme Court says this is illegal. However, deep inside me, I actually hope they don't, because if they do, then Trump has 6, 7, 8 different loopholes he can go through and then put all sorts of differentiated tariffs on all the world, and some of them temporary, some of them not. And that would just leave the entire world again in a place where they say, we don't invest in the United States because we have no idea where tariffs will be in a month.
So, and Henry, you're still hungry. You're still hungry. I have another one for you. I have a
let me get that.
Because Trump calls for backing of Credit Card Competition Act, which means that he wants them to lower the interest rate. Interestingly enough, on this subject, he sides with Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, me.
And you as well. All the credit cards went down, all of them. American Express went down 4.3, COF 6.4, Visa 1.8, almost 1.9, and MasterCard as well.
Yeah.
Is it a what?
The thing is, if I think of the credit card companies, I'm thinking, if you do remember that old British series called Dick Turpin, the highway robbery thing.
It's almost back to black and white television.
Yeah, they are basically robbing people blind in these. However, I do support this. I think there should be a cap. The thing is, Trump is doing it because there's midterms coming up, and I don't really think this will get anywhere, to be honest, because all of these credit card and banking companies, they have been supporting Republicans for 8 years. They want something for their money. So I don't think this will go anywhere. Another part of this is that if you just with a magic wand, gets the interest rate down to 10 and say you cannot do above 10 in interest rate, then the credit card companies just say, okay, then everyone that have a bit too bad of a credit score, they can't borrow any money. So you just take the 20, 30, 40% worst, the American citizen in the worst situation, and say, oh, by the way, you cannot even get a credit card now. So yeah, I do support it.
Can I ask, since we are priding ourselves being an investment broadcast, is there any investments in these credit cards? Because normally they are, look at that green screen.
I actually like Visa. Quality of 100, earnings per share going up, low PEG ratio, revenue going up, return on capital going up, free cash flow going up. It's just an insanely good company. And something good that could come out of this Trump thing could be that he pushes the price a bit further down in the value graph. Could we get it down with another 10% or something like that? We could actually get to a point where it looks really, really good on the value chart. So I would not completely rule out investing in Visa, though Trump is doing his best to destroy it.
Enough US for this time. We're going to look towards the East now, because we had a number that astounded us yesterday, and that was Baehrenz went up by more than 10% in the stock exchange yesterday, even though that it's traded on the US stock exchange. Alibaba 10% up. What went on, Hans-Henrik?
Well, first of all, it was a really good day in China and Asia, yeah, it went up a lot, and there were several reasons. China, the Chinese government went out saying that they would support a lot of these these trade companies simply to spur some consumer spending out there. There's also some very good AI news, and Baba is also leaning towards the AI. It's a huge company. They have their fingers in almost everything. So there was several different. There was a healthcare selling healthcare equipment thing that got some support from the government as well, and that went up. Baba has some healthcare equipment stuff they sell as well. So overall, it was just a fantastic day for Baba.
And it falls into a question that we received at FOMO@MyStockScanner.com, and that Jesper has written us there. And with all the turmoil in the US economy, he's asking, shouldn't we be looking towards the Chinese, Japanese, South Korean stock exchange?
Yes, absolutely.
And find stocks out there, maybe India as well.
Yeah, there is a currency thing, of course, that we're taking a currency risk. Something like Alibaba, the largest 50 or something Chinese stocks, they can be bought on the US stock exchange as in so-called ADR. And that is kind of a proxy or a copy of the Chinese version. I would, at this point, I would stick to investing on the US stock exchange. But with the way United States is behaving right now, there is definitely a move towards Asia. You can see Canada, Mexico, Europe, all of them are seeking China. They're seeking each other outside this US new foreign policy. So, and that is fine. US, they are in the absolutely right to do so, but they shouldn't expect the rest of us just to sit idle and do nothing.
And a stock like Alibaba nicely takes us on to the next subject here in our little broadcast, and that is that we have Tuesday Tech. We have to admit that tech fills up so much in both stocks, but also in our show, that we simply have 2 days for it now. And that's normally Liam Flavel that does the article that can be found on our website, MyStockScanner.com, with the full info on what's going on in Tuesday Tech. And since he's on vacation, good for him, we will talk about it. And one of the things that caught our eye was that Apple picks Google's Gemini to run the AI-powered Siri coming this year. Question is, surprising that it didn't go to OpenAI, but they chose to go with Gemini. Are you surprised?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Let me say that. I think just from my completely, it's Liam, there's a tech wizard here, but I think it's the right choice they're making, just from my point of view, because Google seems to be getting more and more momentum, whereas the OpenAI is a bit more of a potentially lost case.
But the thing is, who benefits from this? Of course, you can say it should be Google Alphabet. That's a straight out winner because they get an order in the order book. But is there win in it for Apple as well?
Yeah, as you say, Alphabet or Google looks really good. We are unfortunately not in it. We actually had a couple of buy signals that we, for some reason, ignored. I have no idea why. So this, I think Google is the future winner of AI, just when we're looking at in the short future. And longer term, it's impossible to say. But I think Apple will gain some speed on this. They are, if we're looking at the value chart, they are at the expensive end of the value of this value channel here. Before I would consider buying into Apple again, it would have to, well, basically go down close to 200, 210, just as Warren Buffett, just before he retired, he also sold out a lot of Apple up here.
Well, Warren Buffett knew what he was doing. He's still around, but he's not active anymore. He's not part of Berkshire at the moment, or not at the moment, but he probably won't be in the future.
Wow.
And good for him to be on retirement. We are not going to retire yet. We have another thing for you guys, because Tuesday is also Tuesday poll. And one of the things that we're going to do here is, we're almost going to talk Warren Buffett, because we will be asking who will be part of Magnificent Seven, the biggest stocks on the American Stock Exchange at the end of this decade, at the end of 2029. Give you the options on our 3 Facebook pages to vote. You can vote for more than one candidate, and you will get a lot to choose from. Plus, you can add your own candidates. But historically, And that's where Warren Buffett comes into the picture. There was a lot of companies back in the time that were top 10 and disappeared. You looked into it.
Yeah, the thing is that when we ask something like this for people to guess out 4 or 5 years out in the future, people might think, well, that is it's easy to guess because, Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta, and so on. I know this is a bit small. I've tried to enhance it, but I can't. We'll put it out on the website as well. But what we can see is that these are the top 10 stocks measured in market cap in S&P 500 back from 1960s and 70, 1980, 1990, 2000, and so on. And we can see that if we go back to 2020, we can see that there are mostly recognizable names, but we can see Visa, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart were number 8, 9, and 10 on the list in S&P 500. Going back to 2000, there will probably be names that newer investors have never heard about. Something like Lucent or AOL. I don't know if you old guys out there can remember. And going back even to just the 90s, we have Bristol Myers and DuPont and Amoco, names that are not even there yet. So we need to remember that when we bet our money on something that we say this one will be there forever for certain, there are not many of these stocks that we can say have been on the top 10 list since the 60s. I actually don't think there are any that have been on the list for 50 years.
One of the ones that really surprised me is AT&T, the big phone company in the US. They simply didn't catch the wireless trend and got into that in time to become a player. And then again, they probably would have lost out because they didn't get the internet side of things. So again, it's impossible, but we will ask you to do the impossible, try to predict the future, come with your offerings, and we'll put it up in a poll in all 3 Facebook groups. Number of the day, which we're approaching fast, and I don't know if you have that kind of money laying around, $5.2 million, Hans-Henrik? You have that in your pocket, back pocket?
No, I think I lost it.
No, not really. Okay, then you can't buy an apartment in this building. I don't know if you're sorry about it, because that also means that you will have to move away from Viborg and move to Dubai, where you will find this building. And why do we bring it up? It's because that's the new Bugatti building in Dubai. And that has become sort of the new trend, that all these various name brands in other industries, car industry for this matter, they are starting to put their names on buildings. And it's not the top apartment you get for 5.2 million. That's the cheapest apartment in this building that you can get. You will have a beach in your back garden once it's done, and probably have to put down the money in a hurry to move in there. Rumors are that we will see Porsche, Aston Martin. Yeah, we're going to see watch companies do buildings as well. I don't know what the future is going to bring, Hans-Henrik. We're going to ask in regards to stock. Now we have to ask in regards to buildings as well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure I would like to live in a building like that. And is that because they can't sell any more cars that they're doing buildings now?
I think that you have seen them put out clothing, you have seen them put out even perfume, and it doesn't even smell like diesel. So basically, they can make money everywhere. And well, the cars are getting so expensive, only 2 or 3 people can buy them in the world. Anywho, let's get to our little closing segment here, because we're looking ahead. We're going to get some earnings from the big banks in America today. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup tomorrow. It's going to be Morgan Stanley. That's some of the investment bankings. Goldman Sachs and BlackRock is going to bring out their numbers. Hans-Henrik, I know they're important because they kind of closed the door on 25 because it's fourth quarter numbers. Anything to look for in those things, or anything that you're going to be looking for?
We think the banking numbers will be reasonably great, because there's a big spread between short-term interest that they borrow money at Fed, and then long-term interest that is what they loan people money at. So I think they're going to do fairly well until we hit a massive recession. I'm going to look for the CPI, the inflation numbers today.
And have any feeling towards it, sort of prediction?
Now, well, we have said that we thought it was most likely for inflations to go up a lot because of tariff war, but we have said all along that we saw a 20% probability of the inflation actually collapsing, because the poorest 80% of the consumers in US right now are in such a bad shape that if they stop consuming, the companies will have to take on the tariff on their books and not put it onwards to the consumer prices. So if the inflation drops today, I'm sure the financial media will say it's a fantastic story. We do like low inflations, but it is a narrative that comes with it, with the flip side saying, yeah, but it's because might be on our way into less economic growth.
We shall see. One thing for sure is that Hans-Henrik will keep an eye out for it for you, and he will report it at our webpage, MyStockScanner.com. And remember, emails are welcome. FOMO@MyStockScanner.com. If we don't get to your email on the show, we will answer it by mail, or we will bring it up in a coming show. Find our articles and indexes on Facebook, but also on our webpage. Liam will be gone on vacation this week, so that means that Hans-Henrik and I will be back in English on Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We will be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock in Danish, because we broadcast 5 days a week at 12 in Danish, Tuesdays and Thursdays in English. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday on MyStockScanner Live. It's smarter picks, it's less stress, and that's how you power through the week. Happy investing out there. See you in English on Thursday, tomorrow in Danish.